What's up, guys? Welcome to the King Closers Formula. I am the King Closer, RJ Bates III, coming to you live on this beautiful Tuesday at 2:22 p.m. Hope you guys are enjoying your Veterans Day. To everyone out there that is a veteran, thank you so much for your service. Something that I could never do in my lifetime. I have so much respect for any and everyone that's ever served our country. So thank you so much to all the veterans out there. We're rocking the red, white, and blue today. I actually figured out how to get my lights behind me, two different colors. The other thing that we're rocking today for the first time ever, and if you're watching on YouTube and it looks a bit different, if it's in vertical form, StreamYard now has given us the capabilities of streaming both horizontally and vertically. So we're trying it out. We're testing it out. So if you are watching on YouTube today, let me know which one popped up on your notifications. Was it the vertical or is it the horizontal? Do you like the vertical? I'm looking at it on my phone. It's a bit different than how it normally shows up. So I'm not sure how I like that or not. The other thing that I'm noticing is that it really doesn't feel like. Someone says, I don't like the vertical. Interesting. What's really funny is on my side, it's acting like I'm not live. I feel like, so there is a horizontal on YouTube, which is very, very interesting that it's acting like I'm not live yet on my side. I don't know. Hopefully this isn't completely messed up. If it is, we'll figure it out. I should be live both horizontally and vertical. We just wanted to try out the vertical to see how it worked out. So today we are going to be talking about why marketing budgets are dumb for wholesalers. Now, this is going to be very controversial because there are many of you that are probably thinking like, my whole life I was taught I have to have a budget, and if I don't have a marketing budget, what am I supposed to do? Just blindly spend money? So kind of stick with me through my thought process here as I break down my opinion on this. It's not like I want you blindly spending money, but I also don't want you shortchanging yourself inside of your business because you have this set number that you're willing to spend. Now, inside of Titanium University, there are posts that happen inside the group. And I looked this up the other day. We had, up until yesterday, we onboarded our 24th class. We had 777 members. Now we're over 800. Out of the 777 members, 684, I believe, were active inside of the group, meaning in the past 28 days, they had made their own post or commented on somebody else's post. So the vast majority of them are active. The posts themselves, though, are kind of up to the members to decide what they want to share. And every now and then we get posts where the members will share their KPIs, how much they spent, what they closed and funded. And it's super awesome to see that. But it's not something that we ever like mandate or promote because people are private, right? You know, you're sharing already a lot of information. And so 3 members posted their KPIs in regards to how much they spent in comparison to how much they made. Okay. Now I'm going to break these down for you and explain why I'm sharing this here in just a second. The first member shared that they spent $8,500 in marketing for the month, and they had 52,000 in closed and funded assignments that month, with another 50,000 in pending closings for the next month. Okay. Now that's fantastic. That is above average, really going above and beyond. The next member posted that they spent $4,500 in marketing. They had $25,000 in closed and funded assignments with an additional $25,000 to $30,000 in pending closed deals for the next month. And then we had a third member that said they spent $4,000 in ad spend with $14,000 closed and funded and more pending for the next month. Now, I don't know what that more was, but it just said more pending for the next month. Okay, now some of that could have been because they didn't have them assigned yet. They didn't know the exact numbers. Makes sense, right? If you just locked up a deal on the 27th, 28th, 30th of the month, you don't have recon done, you don't have it assigned, you don't know how much you're going to make. Now, going back, the three amounts in marketing budget was $8,500, $4,500, and $4,000. Now, I don't know how they chose those marketing budgets. They could have been random, could have just been how much money they had. It could have been the choice, right? Not everybody wants to get as much money as possible and close the funded deals. It could have also just been a set decision. That's what I really want to talk about, is if you make a decision that you are only going to spend X amount of dollars in a month. That is what I believe is dumb when you set a precedence. The reason why is because if you talk to any of the PPL providers that have a marketplace or a bidding system, they will tell you that at the beginning of the month or the beginning of the week, the bids are higher than they are at the end of the month. And then you ask them, well, why would that be the case? Well, by the end of the week or the end of the month, the majority of people have spent their marketing budget. And so there's less people competing for those leads. So the price per lead goes down incrementally because there's less competition. Kind of makes you laugh a little bit when you think about how simple it is to beat our competition when our competition literally is out there turning off their lead flow because their budget has evaporated. Now, when we look at these three examples of how much money did they spend, you had the first TU member spent $8,500 for $50,000 in closed and funded. The second one spent $4,500 for $25,000. Now, the question that you're probably thinking to yourself, or at least I was when I looked at that, was why didn't the second one spend $8,500 or $9,000 to double their revenue and essentially double their profit? Why did they make the choice to only spend $4,500 when the first person spent $8,500? Now, again, it could have been budget, how much money, it could have been time, bandwidth, too many leads, something along those lines. But common sense tells you, if you had told them before in the beginning of the month, if you just spend $9,000 this month, you could go from $25,000 to $50,000, which actually that $50,000 was just that month. The next month, the person that spent $8,500 had already had $50,000 assigned, ready to close, and it was pending. And the person who spent $4,500 had $25,000 pending. So it was literally half across the board. Now, the goal in marketing is not necessarily to set this hard and fast number for what your budget could be. It should be based off of the return on investment. You should be looking at this and trying to jam the slot machine over and over and over again, unless you just have a specific amount of money that you want to make and you want to do less work. For example, Tyler Osborne inside of TU, his goals, the reality that he wants to create for himself, is all based around time. He doesn't necessarily need to make all of the money in the world. He wants to spend more time doing other things. Now, that would make sense as to why he would spend less to make less money. But I don't think that's the case for everybody. So when we look at Hold on. I want to respond to this comment real quick. Matthew, there are people here. I made a mistake. Today, I am doing this both on vertical and horizontal. And I believe a lot of people are on the horizontal portion of this. So if you're on the vertical, stay where you are, brother. Make sure you like that video, okay? All right. So getting back to the topic of why marketing budgets are dumb. Listen, if you set a hard, fast number for yourself going into the month, let's just say, using a small round number that makes sense for the math, $3,000 for the month. And you're going to do something like Speed of Leads Coupon Club or Property Leads Nationwide Exclusive $30. That's going to get you 100 leads for the month. Now, as you start buying those leads, they're going to start dripping in. And what's going to happen is, if you're doing things the right way, you're going to come to some sort of resolution to each lead. It should be, it's either they're not a good fit, we are not their solution, so it's a dead lead, or you get a signed contract. Those are your options. Now, every now and then you're going to end up where a lead, for whatever reason, cannot sign with you. This is a hot topic in today's implementation call, where you have to follow up with that seller, and that happens. But when that happens, it should be the smallest queue of leads that you have inside of your CRM. And it should be based off a very specific time frame in which you are going to follow up with them to either come to the resolution of signed contract or a dead lead. Now, as you're going through these leads, you only have 100 for the month because that's the mythical number that you set for yourself. Now, at what point in time do you make a decision to exceed that budget if you don't have any new leads to call, or your queue of leads now has run dry? Are you going to just continue staring at your CRM for whatever you have? Are you not going to buy leads? I believe this is actually a decision that some of you are making right now, where you're saying, I'm only going to buy 2 leads a day, 3 leads a day. I'm not going to exceed that maximum. I'm not going to go above $3,000 for the month. Now, let's throw out a scenario where inside of a week, you were to buy 25 leads using the $3,000 budget, the mythical number that we're picking, okay? Now, you bought 25 leads. If you were to go on a heater and get 4 signed contracts, you now have 4 signed contracts, 21 leads remaining. Let's just say 15 of those are now dead. Are you only going to work those 6 leads? Even though you have 4 signed contracts, you have 4 opportunities where you're going to make money, where you could, if you hit the nationwide average, be making $60,000. Are you going to make a decision to not buy more leads, even though it's proven to you right now that it's working? You're performing. The leads are performing. You're going to stop because of the budget that you put on yourself? This is where you should absolutely be going all in and getting even more deals under contract. My personal opinion is it shouldn't be based around a budget. It should be around whatever your closer can perform on a daily basis. What I mean by that is there's a certain bandwidth that each closer has in which they can only call, or they can only place so many dials in a day. They can only have so many conversations. What does that number look like? For some people, it's 20 leads, 50, 100, 200, whatever that number is. Get your queue up to that number. And then every single day, you're going to have leads that are going to flow out of the new leads, called no answers, and follow-up statuses. Now, however many leads that is, that's how many new leads you need the next day. So some days it'll be 2. Maybe the next it's 15. But it changes based off of your abilities to perform as a closer. And so the more leads that you're pushing out of your CRM, that's more leads that you need to buy. And you need to be tracking your KPIs based around your lead to contract ratio, your contract to close ratio. And if you're maintaining those KPIs, what ends up happening is you don't have a specific amount that you spent in a month. You just look to say, how much did I spend this month? And then based off of the KPIs that I was hitting, what was the return that I got on that? That is how a real closer actually runs their business. They can actually look at it and say, I'm not worried about how much I'm going to spend. I'm more worried about my abilities to perform and hit the metrics that I should have every single day. Now, this would change by day. Going all the way back to the 2023 50-50-50. There's a day that you could go watch if you really want to painfully do so. It's 8 hours of me leaving voicemails. It was the day in New York. So I don't know what day that was. Somewhere in 25th, 26th. No, Hyro, the camera's not broke. I'm running it two different ways, both vertical and horizontal. I get it. You guys don't like the vertical. It's also running horizontal right now, just so you know. So, man, never going to try this again. This is a one-time off thing. But anyways, so the day in New York, 8 hours of me leaving a voicemail. Now, what ends up happening when you just run a streak of voicemails is that no leads moved out of my CRM. So as a closer, I didn't do my job, which was to get in contact with those homeowners and get to a resolution. So going into the next day, I don't receive any new leads. $0 are spent because I didn't move the needle one way or another in my business. I didn't earn the opportunity to receive new leads. Now, the next day, when I move 10 leads out of there, I get to receive 10 leads the following day. That is how I would like to see this run. And this is really where I believe marketing budgets actually come from, are one of two different reasons. First, you don't have money. You're on a real tight budget across the board. And so it's like, well, based off of how much money I do have, in order for my life to move on, and the rent and the mortgage and the electric and the car and the kids and the food and all of this, I can spend $1,000. Okay, that makes sense. Inevitably, you need to get to a point inside of your business, though, where that's no longer a concern. Like if you're constantly pinching pennies across the board, we have issues. We've got to get to a point where revenue is coming in and we have money to be able to invest inside of ourselves and inside of our business. The second thing is people are naturally conservative and they really don't trust on themselves. They don't believe that they could replicate what is happening inside their business over and over and over again. What I mean by that is maybe you do go have a month where you make $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and you feel good about yourself. That's also more money than you've ever had inside of your bank account. So you really don't want to just go hog wild crazy buying a bunch of leads when you don't know if you could do that again. Because really you could boil that down to, well, it was just 4 deals. It wasn't really like I proved the concept. It was just I talked to the 4 right sellers and I got them under contract at the right price. And so because I was able to move 4 deals, I was able to make money. And so the fear keeps you from really going all in on, hey, I am just going to consistently be buying leads based off of the deal flow. So you set that budget. And when I hear about people setting those budgets, that's where you come across the people where it's like, it's the 22nd of the month, but I've already spent my budget. So I'm just going to work the leads that I have. So for the next week, I'm not going to buy any leads. Now, what happens over that next week? I go buy those leads. The people that are not afraid buy those low-hanging fruit leads. The competition goes on a week vacation, and then we go and we close deals with less competition for less money because the actual cost of those leads go down. This is actually a proven thing. You can actually ask Property Leads, LeadZolo, and Speed to Lead, and they'll tell you at the end of the month, we charge less for the leads because people don't have the budget anymore. It's actually sad that businesses end up in that position. Now, Hyro asked in the comments, so 10 leads a day? Depends. What did you do the next day or the day before? Did you move 10 leads to dead? Did you get 2 signed and 8 dead? Then that would be 10 leads. If you got 12 dead and 3 signed, then you need 15. If you did nothing, you get 0. That's how it should work. So your queue of leads always stays and maintains the same over the course of time. That is my personal opinion. That's how we run our business right now. That's how we've always wanted to run it. And it has, what it maintains is consistent deal flow. It's not like we come across it. It's like we just don't have deals right now. We don't have leads. We also don't run across the problem where it's like we don't have money, which is ultimately where everybody should want to be. Now, how you handle your leads, that was a hot conversation today during the implementation call. I personally believe that you should be aggressive. I think you should be aggressive on killing your leads and moving on to the next one. So Carlos says, what's your approach if you literally have $0 to spend on leads or marketing? Go watch my $0 to get a deal, get you a deal, get money, don't use it on anything else, and start your business. FSBOs, MLS, whatever you got to do to go find a deal. Go find one. And then move on. The other thing, Carlos, is you can find someone that's got too many damn leads and work their old leads. There's plenty of people out there. That's what just started this conversation this morning, was someone said, I'm thinking about just going and calling all my old dead leads, the one that had the wrong price, and start working those and seeing if I can resurrect those from the dead. And I said, absolutely not. Go get somebody like you, Carlos, who ain't got nothing but time and desire, and put them to work. Let them grind that shit out, and you focus on closing your deals. So when we go back to the budget, it's also the reason why I want to talk about this today is because I feel like this is one of the most important topics that we could talk about today, because we're coming into that time of the year where I feel like everybody's about to take off. And so I gave my opinion to you this morning, but to you guys here on YouTube, make that decision. What are you going to do going into Thanksgiving and Christmas? Okay. Are you going to focus on taking time off? Are you going to focus on buying all the Christmas gifts? Or are you going to focus on, hey, I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to invest in the leads when I know that the rest of the industry is taking the time off. Because what we have seen over the past decade is that November, December, going into January and February are massive opportunities. The competition is going to take time off. They're going to punt on 4th down inside the 4th quarter. That's what they do over and over and over again. Just like every single month, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, the budget's gone. What do you think that looks like right now coming into the end of the year? Let's take time off. I don't want to buy leads. They're still motivated sellers. People are going to need our solutions. So just remember, you can either decide that you want to be the guy that spends $8,500 and made $100,000, or you can be the guy that spent $4,500 to make $50,000. Now, some of you might be the person that spent $4,000 that made $25,000. That's still a solid return. It's nothing to laugh at. Part of the reason why that person made less is probably because he JV'd on that. He's just looking at his take home. And that's okay. We all start somewhere. But if we are always limiting ourselves, your results will be limited. So don't go into the month saying, here's how much I will allow myself to spend. Actually work the system the way that it's meant to. And if you're not there financially, that should be the next goal for your business. Get yourself in a position where you can actually run it like a business needs to, not off of some Dave Ramsey type budget. All right. Let's open it up for Q&A. I really wish I could show you guys what I see right now. There's 2 RJ talking heads. Is anybody not on the vertical? Because when I show this, it doesn't show it. What's up, Gaetano? It shows a little cell phone, like you guys are on it. I also feel like it's a lack of consistent behavior, so they're not planning on working each day. I could not agree more. That's one of the biggest issues. But to be real with you, man, if I come on here, if I make a title and I talk about consistency, no one cares because they know it. They know I'm talking about them. And they're just, man, I don't want to hear it. You know, no one wants to hear that it's all about the lack of consistency. Thank you, Amanda. I guess that's my new nickname, Papa RJ. I throw all my non-deals in the dumpster. Smiles. You're in TU now, but I still don't know who you are. What is your real name, brother? What is your real name? That's what I want to know. Kelly says, I feel like it is also lacking consistent behavior, so they're not planning on working. Oh, that came from, oh, you said it twice. My bad. I was like, man, I feel like that's the exact same comment down below. Nationwide versus county specific. Nationwide, brother. We have way too many dispo houses inside of TU to not leverage that, and you get to buy more leads. You're a great closer. So more at-bats. It's easier for you to kill the ones that are not good deals, not in good locations, and you just get more at-bats. What's up, Sam? Are you dialing with Danny today? I hope you are. That's all the questions? No questions. Everybody's good on this topic. I guess most of you guys are TU already. I guess I must have just crushed this during the implementation call, which is funny because I didn't decide this topic before the implementation call. This topic actually was written. This is a suggestion by Nick. When did he suggest this? He suggested this on September 8th. And I hopped in our little content folder today, and I was like, all right, what's my live going to be about today? And I was like, why marketing budgets are dumb. Absolutely. Let's go. Do you make a goal based on what you are spending? So, Hyro, this is where it comes to your ability to increase the contact rate. Okay, so if you go buy 20 leads and you only talk to 10, you're basing your KPIs on the 10 that you got a hold of. So if you're doing property leads nationwide, you should be closing 1 out of 10. You got a hold of 10, then you should have 1, right? But you still got 10 that you got to go hold of, but you're getting 10 new leads tomorrow. So now you're back up to 20. So the goal is not based off of what you're spending. It should be based around your ability to get the sellers to answer the phone. And then what is your contract to close ratio? What's your what is your lead to contract ratio? What is your contract to close ratio? Maintaining those KPIs. And then what's your average assignment fee? And then that's how you get to what your actual revenue goal is. And when you have those and you know what they are, and you have no questions around what you can do as an individual, skill set wise, that's how you base your goals. Like now I know that if I buy 100 leads, I can get a hold of about 75 of them. And then from there, I'm going to get somewhere in the range of 6 to 7 contracts. And then from there, about 4 to 5 of them are going to close. And then from that, I'm going to make $40 to $50 to $70,000, somewhere in that range. There was an ad over the chat box. Man, the horizontal. You guys don't like the vertical. I got it. When you buy the nationwide leads or property leads, I keep getting leads that are in 1,000 population towns. What do we do with those? I don't give a shit about the population. How many buyers do we have in the county? And you're buying leads for so cheap that, one, I don't believe that you're getting that many. This is one of those things. I can go look. I'm going to look at my text messages. All right. My leads recently, okay? Roswell, New Mexico. We've done deals there. Jonesboro, Arkansas. Des Moines, Iowa. Quitman, Texas. Lake Jackson, Texas. Colebrook, New Hampshire. All right, I'll give you Colebrook, New Hampshire. That's the first one. Sioux City, Iowa. I'm not sure about that one. Port Henry, New York. Not sure. Titusville, Florida. That sounds fantastic. Lakeport, California. Shannon, Mississippi. That one probably sucks. Lakeland, Florida. Right? North Fort Myers, Florida. Sounds fantastic. The other part of this, Sam, is that you start building out relationships in areas, right? So like Covington, Virginia, we've got a buyer for that. Blakely, Georgia, not sure. Little Rock, Arkansas, right? That's a major metro, right? That's like the place. Rome, Texas. See, if you went based off of population, let's look up what the population of Rome, Texas is. The population in Rome, Texas is 1,926. On paper, based off of what you just said, that's a shitty lead. What do we do with those? I don't worry about that. I didn't even know what the population is. I close it. And here's the reason why. Because Rome, Texas is about 20 feet further than I can spit that way. But the population is 1,926. It's right there. It's basically Fort Worth, Texas. That's one example. Atlanta, Georgia, right? That was a lead that we got, $30. Okay. Lafayette, Louisiana. That one's pretty decent. Lima, Ohio. Great. Maricopa, Arizona. Woo, buddy. That's basically Phoenix. And I know we got a Phoenix one there a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. But we got to find a way to make money with those. No matter what. Like, all right. One, the area is buyer activity. Two, do we have a dispo house? Do we have someone in the group that would do an ovation? Right? Scott Litt, Lath, Travis, Matthew, Tyler, Matt Bombich. Who do we have that will do an ovation on them? Monetize it. Find a way. This is helpful. Being fairly new is that issue of weaving in new leads and not abandoning older leads, not wasting time on old leads, but not leaving them improperly worked. I think everybody fears that they're not working their leads correctly. It clearly that was an issue that came up today. I think that I'll do more content around that and have a more open conversation for sure. I think there's probably a bigger lead of people hoarding leads than working them correctly. Second day in TU and might have something in the works. Buyers looking at the deal right now. Love it, man. Still don't know what your name is. I'd love to know what your actual name is. You never buy county or statewide. I do not. Why would I do that? What would be the reason why I would need to go buy county or statewide? I could go to the marketplace on Speed to Lead and buy wherever I want. So if I need those, I could just use Speed to Lead. I could use Lead Zolo. But when it comes to property leads, I mean, it's out there. It's rolling, baby. Give me what we got. I love it. You're on investor base in investor base in the county and the surrounding cities. You only see 10 buyers. I want to know what deal this is. That's what I know. I tagged the buyer on your post. Welcome to TU, brother. That's how it works. You get shit done. Just got price dropped, and Danielle got a price raise. I'm back in. Let's get it assigned. There you go, brother. Good job. You were talking about having the ability to get sellers to answer the phones more consistently. Do you have tips to get more of your leads to pick up? Change the time frames in which you're calling and just be consistent with it. Most people call 2-3 times and give up, and then they want us to talk about they're working those leads. But I think the majority of people really just struggle with calling a seller 10, 12 times in a row, 10, 12 days in a row and getting them to answer. I mean, there's always the things that you could do, right? You can text message, the drippy drips, the emails, the funny GIFs, the emojis, the voicemails, all the stuff. But there's no way in the world that you can make someone answer the phone. So the main priority when you reach out to the seller is to be consistent that, hey, I'm here when you're available. I'm here when you're ready. And changing up that messaging can help some. But the reality of it is that if they're truly motivated to sell that piece of real estate, there's a reason why they're probably not answering the phone. Life's happening. Something's going on that's hindering them from answering the phone and responding to you. There's something going on there. All right. Let's do something here. Let's see what we got. We're going to look this up here real quick for old Sam. Sam's found something near a stop sign in Iowa. I mean, this is about as rural gets, Sam. I mean, you say, well, what are we supposed to do with these? Well, why would you want to do anything with this? Because you had a good conversation? Because the seller will sell it for cheap? I mean, you're literally in a cornfield. There's a stop sign in a cornfield. But, hold on. Let's see. If you paid attention in the group, Sam, who likes Iowa? Pop quiz. Who likes Iowa? Anybody? Nobody knows. Hold on, I'm still looking. We're northwest of Fort Dodge. We're outside. Galen likes Iowa. He buys Polk County, which is the majority of Des Moines and North, Polk City and Kinney, going up towards Ames. So this is outside of that area. So what I would do here is, if it can be a deal, right? Do you have days on market less than 60 days? Could it be a potential novation with one of the novation partners? If not, move on to your next lead. You spent $30. That's one. You don't have all of them like that. It's a numbers game, but to a certain extent. Your contact ratio should be high. Then it's up to finally getting a contract to close, but skill has a lot to do with it. Yeah, I think skill does have a lot to do with it. But again, if we're talking about running a business, this isn't necessarily the episode for like the newbies, right? I mean, this is the episode for people that have already kind of proven the concept. And I think the majority of people that really hinder themselves are the newbies, where it's like, I'm only going to invest a couple of grand and see if this works. I see that a lot. Can't wait to get into TU. What are you waiting on? Don't tell me you're waiting on to close the deal. That's some back-asswards thinking. Find a way. There's a way that you can get in there. I can absolutely promise you that. And then it's like, Smile's been on the YouTube channel forever. Now he's been here for 2 days. He's already got a deal talking to a buyer today. I gave him the buyer yesterday inside the Facebook group. Don't wait. Make it happen. Uh-oh. Oh, buddy. Hold on. See if this works. Remove battery from mouse. A little RJ spit. Uh-oh. We're stuck. Oh man. We're just going to be live all day with Wealthy Dad's comment up, because I can't make it go away. I can't end the live. See what we do here. Can't even mute myself. I apologize for the screaming right now. Justin! Uh-oh. I should keep batteries around here. But the batteries are all the way across the office. I wish I could take you guys with me. Hold on one second. All right, Garrett's going to go get the battery for me. Next questions. I can't bring up the questions, so I'm just going to read them. Danny said, I got a property under contract, but the seller says now her mom is passing. She doesn't like the price we agreed upon. She's stressed. She won't send pictures, cooperate. What would you do in this situation? So that's a tough situation, right? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by she doesn't like the price. I don't know if that means the seller or the mom. Because if the seller doesn't like the price, the seller signed the contract. So that makes it really awkward if they're saying now they don't like the price. I mean, realistically, it might come down to, thank you, what kind of business do you want to be long term?
Don't work.
Where'd you get it?
Cass pulled it out of a drawer. Still nothing?
Oh
shit. Okay.
Let's try another one. Sorry, that battery didn't work either. The seller doesn't like the price. I mean, that's weird because she signed the contract. I mean, it might make more sense just for you to terminate and move on to the next one, right? Sounds like there's a lot of emotions going on. Mom's passing away. There's always the next deal. I mean, there's people out there that would say, I mean, you could totally file a memorandum. They sign a contract. You could cloud title. I don't know if I would personally do that. Again, this goes back to the conversation. It also goes to how this is being disclosed to you. We find out all the time that people lie about death and health. It's the number one excuse for why people don't show up to TU sales calls. Right? Garrett, how many people do you think have been in the hospital during TU sales calls in the past month?
At least in the past month?
Yeah.
10 to 15. It is an extremely, extremely common excuse. Crazy enough.
Dude, did my mouse just die?
Just get destroyed.
Have I overused my mouse? These are new batteries?
She said they came out of a box. I don't know. I can check Kristen's desk if that. Are you putting them in right? Tell me that you haven't been.
Huh?
Did it not just flash right there?
It goes that way, right?
Positive.
Mm.
Problem solving over here.
We're back. The key is putting the battery in correctly.
So these might be good.
Those might be good. Let's just leave them there. This happens a lot on lives. This is like the third time. But I'm back. I have a mouse. Back to the comments. I was too strong and I broke the mouse. Or I was putting the battery in backwards. It was confusing, man. I don't know. I'm not a handy guy. I'm really good about digging. The worth of my hands, it's not my thing. All right. Any other questions you guys have today? Let me scroll back, see. Trust me, you can work something out to get in. Just do it. Facts. Danny, I mean, my final thoughts on that deal. I would personally have a conversation with them and just say, you know, if your mother's passed away and this is not a win for you, then I think we need to move in separate directions. But we did have a conversation. You said this. You did sign the contract. Is there anything that I need to be aware of besides your mom being sick that has changed? And is there a way for us still to work together? And if there's not, then I would end it at that point. So, all right, everybody. I appreciate you dealing with my technical difficulties today. I was really hoping that you guys would like this horizontal. What I was thinking was on the vertical and the horizontal was that the vertical was going to show up as a live YouTube short. That's not what happened. So it is what it is. Sam, when you're at Danny's office tomorrow, talk to Danny about this. He's going to show you the way. All right. I think you're way too concerned about something that's happened inside of your contracts lately. We're going to get you fixed up tomorrow. All right. Don't worry. Don't worry about that today. Just place your dials, get over to Danny's tomorrow, and we'll get you fixed up. All right, everybody. Make sure you like the live. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another episode. Oh, one more. When virtual wholesaling, do you need to worry about having a state-specific or state-compliant contract? We use the same contract in all 50 states. However, there are states that do require a disclosure to either be signed before a signed contract or after disclosing that you're a wholesaler. So search before you sign a contract, wholesale regulations in the state, and it'll show you. Some states like Wisconsin require you to have a disclosure before. But other than that, the contract can be the same. So, all right, guys. See y'all tomorrow.